All of that happened this weekend. But please, privileged, rich, white elected Democrats, you just keep publicly defenestrating your party leader and president to feed the media thirst for Democrats in disarray stories because you're scared for your own seats and apparently don't know how to campaign on a surging economy, high-tech jobs, and $35 insulin. I mean, you're the most important thing here, right? You and your donors, of course, not the actual voters in your party base who can't afford to see prices double on everything they buy due to Trump's China tariffs and who would be the first ones fired from their federal civil service jobs under Project 2025 or shot in the streets by Trump's stormtroopers if they protest. You do you. The media is super entertained, and that's what's important. And also, this is your brand, right? Remember after Democrats passed Obamacare? Obamacare's popular now, sure. Imagine being able to see a doctor or take your kid to the emergency room. But it wasn't always a slam dunk people pleaser. And it was actually quite toxic, with some Democrats running away from the president's signature health care reform law.
I know some of you wonder, why do I keep showing videos of what the people on MSNBC and CNN are saying? But there's actually a few good reasons. One reason is that you should always know what your opponent is thinking. But more importantly for me, I like to hear what they're saying because it's really indicative of how the polls that they're seeing are really leaning. By looking at their rants in the mainstream media, you can tell what their candidate is really seeing in their internal polls. When the polls show that their candidate is actually failing or losing badly, you can see it in the ranting and the whining that they do on their shows. They appear like frothing at the mouth rabid animals, and it leaves them with nothing but fear porn to push on their audience. They can never say anything positive about their candidate, or in this instance, Dementia Joe, so they always try to push the negative stuff that Trump is doing to help their audience feel better. And it's surprising because a lot of the libnuts like to cry and whine about disinformation and misinformation. But meanwhile, that's all they do. Let's face it, there is no longer any real journalism. The current media model is completely based upon opinionated gaslighting. And what I find really funny is I don't even think they believe the stuff that they spew on the airwaves. But they do know there's a certain segment of their audience that will basically believe anything anti-Trump. I often wonder if people like Joy Reid really understand that the more she rants, the more she pushes people to look positively upon Donald Trump. Why? Because it's making her look insane. When the libnuts constantly complain and bitch and moan about Donald Trump, people with reasonable functioning brains realize there's something wrong. Because no reasonably thinking adult wants to be like Joy Reid. And no reasonably thinking adult can even take her seriously. And lately it seems that Joy Reid has nothing but an epic meltdown every other day. And now we find out she is mortified, terrified of white Christian men. I'm not a psychologist and I didn't sleep at the Holiday Inn last night, but she's probably gonna have to get psychological help when Trump gets elected. Check out her recent self-induced meltdown.
Let's not be trying to play games with these kinds of small things to try to pull us into a direction. All that matters in this election, and I genuinely mean this, all that matters in this election, the only thing that matters in this election is keeping Donald Trump and Project 2025 out of power. Keeping that insane ideology of white Christian nationalism and white supremacy and white male Christian dominance out of power. That's all that matters. I genuinely don't.
Does she not realize that supposedly Joe Biden is a Catholic, a white Christian man? He tells us that a white Christian man is currently leading the country. Do you have a problem now? Because pretty much he's the president, he's a dominating figure, he's the figurehead for the United States, but you don't have a problem with that. You just think that Donald Trump is the enemy, and you're trying to let everybody know it's not really what you think. What you really think, Joy, is that the orange man is bad. You've got Trump derangement syndrome to the nth degree.
I don't care who the Democratic nominee is, and I'm being real. I don't care. If it's Biden, fine. If it's Kamala Harris, fabulous, right? But it's going to be one of the two of them. Let's just not play crazy games now.
See, what she's saying there is what I've been telling you guys who watch my videos for quite some time. You cannot jump and leapfrog over Kamala Harris. These people will revolt. It would be just insane. The spears and the torches would be running down Fifth Avenue in New York. You are not going to be able to leapfrog Kamala Harris. She has to be the nominee if Joe steps aside. It would be ugly.
There are rules the way that this process works. It's one of the two of them. Either one, I don't care. Or you want to parachute somebody else in, and they not him, they not the orange one, they not the one who... Fine, put him...
I had to bleep out there. Keeps calling him the guy from 1939, Germany. In every single video she says, she's trying to drive home the fact that, Trump is basically Adolf.
And I don't care, because all that matters, I'm going to say this to y'all again, all that matters in this upcoming election is that you keep that man and that Project 2025 plan out of...
What Project 2025 plan? The plan that he's already said it's not his. His is Agenda 47. You're running with this Project 2025 stuff to scare people. It's all fear-mongering. You have nothing positive to say about the Democrat Party, so you have to create a boogeyman.
Power. That's all you need to understand. And to do that, you are going to need to vote against the party that has embraced white Christian nationalism.
Could I? Well, I could. You probably couldn't. I'm pretty sure you couldn't make a video and put it on YouTube where you say in that video prominently, I don't want a black dominating person in the White House. You couldn't say, I don't want a black Muslim dominating person in the White House. You couldn't say it. But she says whatever she wants about Trump, and everybody's fine, and she's still got a job on MSNBC.
The Republican Party is gone. It has been replaced by Project 2025 and MAGA and Trump. That's all that's left. That party is gone. And that means you have to vote against that letter, R, all the way down the ballot. You have to keep them out of power at the state level, keep them out of power at the federal level, or remove them from power at the state and federal level.
How do you remove somebody other than by voting? Oh, that's right. AOC today, she decided she's going to file article of impeachment against Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. Good luck with that.
That means anything with the R on it is toxic. Anything with the R on it is going to take your birth control. Anything with the R on it is going to make you register and take the military preparatory test in high school so that you're ready to be cannon fodder for them.
All of you my age or close to it, we all had to register for the draft. Didn't want to, but we had to. And so now all of a sudden she's a peacenik. She doesn't want us going to foreign wars. Maybe she should talk to Joe about that right now. Tell him to just stop with everything in that country over there. Take the money back. Don't send them any more stuff. That's what you really want.
To be deployed on the streets of the United States to shoot Americans who are protesting.
This past weekend, 4th of July weekend, 100+ people were shot in Chicago. 17 of them were killed. For years, we keep hearing the same old message in Chicago and some of the other inner cities, Washington, D.C. Why not get in there and clean this mess up? Why not change things? She's not talking about changing anything. All she wants to do is to continue with the status quo as long as the orange man's not in office.
They're going to take away your education. They're going to take away your opportunity to go to college. They're going to take away your book.
What is she talking about? How is anybody going to take away your ability to get an education? She's just gaslighting people. That's all. It's going to get worse. Let me just tell you, the gaslighting these people are going to do to Americans is going to be way off the charts.
Your history. They're going to take away your right to even know the history of this country.
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't think she knows what she's talking about. Who is taking away anyone's right to know the history of the country?
They're going to replace it with so-called patriotic education. They're going to...
So-called patriotic education? Learning how this country was founded and what it's done for the last 250 plus years is bad?
Get rid of the Department of Education, meaning no more Pell Grants, no more money for school, no more student loans.
Wait. Nobody has said that. Who says that the Department of Education is the only place that can administer Pell Grants and student loans? You don't think that another department, a much slimmer agency, could administer Pell Grants and student loans? It's only with this bloated, nutty Department of Education, that's the only way it can get done? You are seriously gaslighting people.
No more equality for girls' sports. All of it gone.
Wait a minute. No more equality for girls' sports. You mean the ones where you got boys playing in it? That equality that we've been fighting for to try to get removed? What is she talking about?
Replaced with this white Christian nationalist insanity.
I would like to look her in the eye, specifically sit across from her. You are denigrating so many people by calling them white Christian nationalists and using it as a degenerative term, not degenerative, pejorative term. You're trying to insult people who are white and Christian. My wife is white, my wife is Christian, and she's not a white nationalist. She loves this country. It's insane what these people are saying. And I'm telling you, it's going to get worse.
And they want to do that not just federal, but state. The Republican Party at the state level is just as bad or worse. Baby, ladies, gentlemen, friends, nothing else matters. Okay? Nothing else matters but stopping Trump, the Republican Party, and Project 2025 in November. You have 119 days to get right with that and get comfortable with that. That's all that matters, okay? And the only way to stop them is with our votes.
I told you she was a ranting, whining, gaslighting mess. But as I said, people with functioning frontal lobes understand she's nuts. People all over Twitter are beginning to see how much of a nut she really is. Let's take a look at a couple of them. I love what this guy says. Joy Reid just had another meltdown where she attacked white people and Christians. She even said Kamala Harris would be a fabulous candidate. Joy Reid needs professional help. I agree. And a lot of you guys know Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock put this up. The same black women who followed Jim Jones into the jungle and killed themselves and their children are following Joe Biden. We're witnessing the Bidentown massacre. Joy Reid is a high priestess in the Biden cult. That is completely correct. Really love what this guy had to say. He says, we've entered TDS hysteria. Since Joy Reid graduated in film, not journalism, she went to Harvard to graduate in film, I often wonder how much of this is performance art for others. He may be onto something there. If it's not performance art, then we're witnessing a mental breakdown in real time. So true. Drew Hernandez, who's a citizen journalist out there, says low IQ Joy Reid goes on another anti-white and anti-Christian nationalist rant. She also claims Republicans are going to recruit kids out of high school to join the military to be deployed on the streets of America to shoot protesters. You heard it. She is that nuts. But this is the big one. Elon Musk, with his 50 million followers, put Joy Reid on blast. Wow. Joy Reid is blatantly racist, sexist, and hates Christians. That's all he needed to say. Put it out there to your 50 million followers. Let everybody know that this woman is a stark raving lunatic. How does she still have a show on MSNBC? I have no idea. And like I said, I know some of you don't like to see videos from the nuts on MSNBC and CNN, but you should. You really should, because that's what winning looks like. The more they whine, the more they lie, the more they gaslight, is the more you should know that you're winning. Hey everybody, join me for the next Trump rally as I broadcast it live. If you've ever joined me on any of my watch parties, you know they are a ton of fun. I do a bunch of giveaways. You might win a trip, you might win some money. So tune in to the next live rally broadcast. Just click right here to be notified as soon as I go live. Talk to you soon.